Hey, what's going on, y'all? Back with another one, back with another one. This is let's talk about the Anatolians for a minute. Let's talk about the Anatolians for a minute. Okay, my wiring's all blotchy, so let's get this thing on the road. Back like we have something. Back like we have something, but yeah, I had to turn the volume on my side of the hearing. Let me go get this out the way. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, back with it. Okay. So the Anatolians, I talked about them recent and last. Shouts out to people that supported the last recording of the historical of the Minoans. I'll say part one and part two. Appreciate y'all for the support. I'm glad I'm dropping that particular content. This is historical content. I'm just putting it out here, just to refresh what my channel's all about. Public information. Shouts out to the brother is doing realhistory.com. And yeah, the Anatolians, we're going to get into them for a bit because I talked about them years ago and I want to refresh your memory. And yeah, it's modern Turkey now, right? But the Anatolians, before they called it Turkey, it was called Anatolia. So Anatolians, I mentioned them several times in the last clip with the Minoans and the Etruscans, right? And I talked about them in the live stream several times, and I did them in several recordings and show you the pictures that what I was talking about. So part one of Anatolia, we might go part two, and the last part we're going to do a separate part two of part three, because three parts to Anatolia. And they try to tell you this, it's got different faces, and I'm not going to get into arguments with albino versus non-albino. Shouts out to old brother, he's doing it. That's just for argument's sake. We're not going to get into that. That's not the information we're not into. That's debates and what they're saying. I can do that on live streams for that. If you want to make arguments about artifacts, and I could do that. Not gonna waste my time on that. That's a waste of time. Everybody's already know. I'm gonna speed through what we're gonna say. Asia Minor, Anatolia. Oh, if you don't know, I've talked about them pre-record. The Indo-Europeans. I mentioned them. I mentioned them in part one and probably part two. I'll get y'all just a second. I got to read this part. Indo-Europeans and researchers says, okay, that's arguments. Okay, prehistoric. Okay, we're gonna start right here. So we're gonna share. I'm gonna share screen. We're not gonna just do a whole lot, because I ain't gonna have, much energy to just get this real quick. I'm gonna pick up the screen for y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up the screen and I'm talking the background like usual, so you know how it goes. Okay, modern Indo-European languages. I talked about this before in two parts years ago. You can go find them and then boom, you see my channel and then you watch both parts. Enjoy and put them in your watch laters if you ain't got time. Just the ones that's new. If the ones that's new, put them in your watch laters, and then I talk about the history of Anatolia and things like that. I broke it down in fragments. I didn't have this type of information back then. Like I had the information back then. Yeah, it was on here, but I had pictures to explain what's what, and then I read it off this website, very same website right here from decades ago. Shouts out to this brother once again. Good website to learn proper education about dark history and other things. There's other sources out there. I haven't found them yet. I ain't got time, but I'll look through probably this coming up the next weekend and we'll see, because I was busy probably last month. This month I'm good, I'm straight. I'm not gonna do too much live streams. I'm gonna let y'all know now because the D&H is still gonna continue. The next one's gonna be straight, and then I'm gonna take a break from June and come back on it on July. I'm gonna do it that way because in July I'm gonna get fresh with it. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna say, but the next one is gonna be in June. I think I got two in June. I got one that's coming up. The next one I won't have in June, but the next one's gonna be in July. I'm gonna take a whole break from that. I will do. Let me tell you something. I will drop recordings. I still record in June. I'm just not gonna do too much on everything. It's a lot to talk about and things like that. And I will do the same type of content. I will definitely do the historical content. As always, every Wednesday, you're going to get those, but you're not going to get a live stream this month. I'll take a whole break in July. I'll come back and be consistent with the DHD because I want to do that every Wednesday because I don't live stream like I used to. I'm just put a sidebar there. Okay, let's go back from the top. Modern Indo-European languages, which include English, originated in Turkey about 9,000 years ago, research says. A language family is a group of languages that arose, he said, arose from the common ancestor known as the proto-language. Linguists, linguists identifies these families by, okay, identify these families by trawling through the modern languages. For the words, a similar sound that often describes at the same thing, like water, Wasser in Germany. See, like Germany, the German language would be Wasser. No, it means water, and these share he said these he they said these shared words or cognates and represents our language inheritance. There's some truth to that. according to According to the Anatolian database, more than 100 language families exist. Indo-European family is one of the largest families, more than 400 languages spoken in at least 600 countries. I mean, excuse me, that's excuse me, let me rephrase that. 400 languages spoken in at least 60 countries, excuse me, 60 countries, and its origins is unclear. The steppes or Krugen theorists, and that hold that proto language originated in the steppes of Russia north of the Caspian Sea about 5,000 years ago. That's what they hold. They call them theorists. Shouts to the old boy clarifying that in the parentheses in this box right here. He said the Anatolia hypotheses, hypothesis. Okay, the Anatolia hypothesis is the first purpose of the late 1980s by Professor Colin Renfrew, now Lord Renfrew. They call him Lord Renfrew. They call him Professor Colin. Yeah, Renfrew. Yeah, Renfrew, and now Lord Renfrew suggests that the origin of Anatolian region of the Turkey about 3,000 years early, to determine which is competing the theory, was most likely the Dr. Quentin, the Askians, or okay, Quentin Atkinson from the University of the Auckland. I believe that's in Australia somewhere. In Auckland, and his team interrogated the language evolution using the cycle. Phylogenic analysis more than usually used to trace the viruses and epidemics. Okay, the evolution using the phylogenetic analysis more than usually used to trace versus epidemics. But committing on the paper, Mark Pagel, a fellow Royal Society from the University of Reading, who was involved in the early published and phylogenic studies, said that this is a superb application of the methods is taken from the evolutionary biology, understanding the problem in our cultural evolution. But the origin expansions in the Indo-European languages, this paper consecutively shows that the Indo-European languages are at least 8 to 9,500 years old, a rose that has long been speculated in the Anatolia region and what the modern day Turkey spread outwards from there. The study the study is reported in Science, the origin and expansion of European languages and families. So we're gonna go here just a bit, and that's what they said in Science. That's the source, science.org and all this other stuff. That's where you got that source from. And use all types of sources and all this stuff. Okay, concerning literature, we got to go to concerned literature right here. So we gotta make sure it's all that. Weird. Okay. Little distraction. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, Egyptians, Sumerians, Mohendorians, Harpians, and Cretans, and Elamites, and Anatolians and Nubians were literate in 3,000 years and 4,000 years. Who knows how many thousands of years before the world ever heard of Greeks or Romans? And there is ample evidence of their literacy. Yet there is not one single entry describing any of the people of their times, whether it be friends, foes, or invaders, or even more indiscret- indiscretiously, indiscretiously, there is not one single entry describing invading whites in any literature. Contrast that Greek and Roman writings, in which these newly literate people describe and everyone, everything and everyone. Right? That's what it says out loud. He's yelling. But the discrepancies is of course not accidental nor a lack of material. Hopefully, the white man has simply withheld this material and not destroyed it. That's concerning literature. Said literacy, and he said indiscretiously, indiscretiously, or something like that. No, that's a mouthful. I can't even pronounce that. Apologize. I'm sorry about that, y'all. If I say it wrong, that's cool. But this right here, he shouldn't have put that right there. But I understand that's how he probably talk. But shouts to the old boy again. But that's a mouthful to me to pronounce. But I messed up on there. Apologize for that. I used to say it, but I don't know. It's been a minute. I used to do this a lot. Okay. Anatolia, Asia Minor, modern Turkey, Galatia, Phrygia, Hatti. I said there's no Hittite people, and I said the Hattian people, all that, and Hurry, Coles, Iberia. That's like Georgia. This is interesting. Bulgaria, Syria. It's a mess out here, man. Was known as Asia Minor, but then they also called it Anatolia way before it's called Asia Minor. Okay. Did the Anatolians invented steel? The earliest known to production of steel is seen pieces of ironware evacuated from a archaeological site in Anatolia, but they call it the Cayman Kaliyuk, or nearly 4,000 years old, but dating from 1800 BCE. It is a tale or the mount of site of what was occupied during the Bronze Age, Iron Age, and the Ottoman periods. In 2005, meta, metallurgic analysts of the iron fragments found the common Cal- Calvin Uke, in 1994, dating to 1800 BCE, revealed that some of these fragments were composed of carbon steel. They said carbon steel, but they are currently from the world's earliest known evidence for the steel manufacture. Steel is an alloy of iron and carbon containing less than 2% carbon, 1% manganese, and small amounts of small amounts of silicone and phosphorus and sulfur and oxygen. But steel is the world's most important energy and construction material. That's facts. The reason why it's most important because steel made the new economy, the industrial revolution, the third industrial revolution was the future. Like you see somewhere around when they start having utilitarian societies, like you see when England was trying to push that years and years ago, and then all the way over to during the chattel slaveries of the um, the 19th century, from 18th century to the 20th century, and then you start seeing it, and then the early parts of the 20th century, you already know steel became everything. Now everything is aluminum and things like that now, and plastic. It's a big problem, but back then it was very old school. You know how it goes. But in new cases relating to the Bessemer, Alabama, yeah, Bessemer, Alabama, it was reported that the town was named after the inventor of steel, which of course is not true. He said, which of course is not true. There's some truth to that. He said, Henry Bessemer is a full Sir Henry Bessemer, born January 19th, he's a Capricorn, 19 in 1813 in Charlton, Hertfordshire, England. He's from Hertfordshire, England. He died on a Pisces. Yeah, he died on the Pisces month in March, early March, March 15th to 1898 in London. Interesting. An inventor and engineer who developed the first process for manufacturing steel inexpensively 1856, leading to the development of the Bessemer converter. The Bessemer converter, he was knighted in 1879. See, all this time, what I tell you about the utilitarian culture in the 19th century in England. You had it before, and I talked about this in a vlog stream, talking about them fools over there, right? And I talk about this in vlog streams, whatever, about utilitarianism. I talked about it a lot 3 years ago. You can go back to the videos and study that philosophy for yourself. Yeah, the culture like this, you see, these societies did exist. It wasn't called utilitarianism in this, well, in this time it did. What you call Epicureanism and that, same thing. That's what you got now in America. But they invented this stuff and steel was important. So they have a culture and whatever and whatnot. See? So we're going to get to the nitty gritty. Anatolia, there are signs of human habitation, carving caves, leads to age, and carvings in people such as caves in Anatolia everywhere. Okay. And then you see the cattle and stuff like that. And you see all the pictures. 16,000, I mean, 6,000, 6,000 BCE, wall mural of Huyuk, cattle Huyuk again, hunters, and all this other stuff. Okay. We're going to keep it here. We ain't going to go too far, but we're going to go. We'll get to this right here for a minute. I'm just going to speak to y'all a minute and we'll see how much. I'm going to flip it back to me. So basically, Anatolians, I talked about them before, and this topic is very strenuous. And yeah, we're gonna get some time in, so we're gonna see, and we're gonna get the statues. Okay, we're good, good, good. Gotta see the statues. I gotta see what's what. Let's see the next. So it goes to Minoans. Okay, okay. I gotta see something real quick. Because Anatolia is just, okay. And he says, "Sir, when you gonna talk about the indigenous?" I ain't trying to talk about them. That's everybody can discuss that at their own time. I'm not trying to talk about them as a whole. We understand the history. That's a separate topic because a lot of people ain't gonna get no flags about that. I don't really speak on that. I say what I said, Aboriginals and all that. People go crazy over it, but it's good stuff to learn about Lucia. It's no need to cover it. Anatolia, part 2, modern Turkey. Let's see any graphical shit. I'm trying to keep it as PG-13 as possible and keep it that way. So we're not going to go extreme. And then you see Anatolia and then Turkey. It's got a rich history. I'm going to tell you that right now. And it's not just something that we see, but this is historical stuff. The Hattian, Hittite, non-existent. Okay, okay. This is good. This is good. We're good over here. Because we might have to skim through some things because some things are graphic. You know how they go over here. So we'll be on part 2. By the way, let's keep this tab and keep it part 2. Okay. So we're going to get into it. So we got 18. Yeah, we got 18 minutes. We got time. Let me switch back to this. So basically, we're just going to come in here for a minute and we're going to just keep it like that. So okay. Go Gopekili, yeah, Gopekili Tepe. Gobekli Tepe, how you want to say it, Tepe or something like that. Gobek, yeah, Gobekli Tepe or something like that. Tepe to date, the most astonishing first is Gobekli Tepe, Turkish for heel with a tummy. That's what they say, hill or the tummy, which is the hilltop sanctuary built the highest point of the elongated mountain ridge, about 15 kilometers northeast of the town of the San, the San Lurthia or Yurfa in the southeast of Turkey. But this site is currently undergoing excavation by German and Turkish archaeologists. It is said to have been erected by the hunter gatherers perhaps 11,500 BCE. But this is believed that before there was the evidence of the semitism sensitivism of the permanent year-round settlement. But their claim does not seem logical. Note for the finely carved pillars, but the support to the roof, it doesn't seem like a hunter-gatherer nomads would have acquired these skills to do such work. Do such work. But what is used to the hunter-gatherer nomads have for such a structure, but hunter-gatherer nomads did not store food. They moved to find food. How would a hunter-gatherer nomads feed themselves while building the site? Any event of the current considered of the oldest known shrine of the temple complex in the world, and the planet's oldest known example of the monumental, architecture. Excuse me. The world's first temple. They will say by these people right here from Anatolia, the first temple they hadn't seen. So this is such, and that's what it looks like. I talked about this a little bit. Gopeki Tepe or something like that. Gopekili Tepe or something like that. It's a mouthful of a name, but it means hilltop. So you know how that goes, but I'm not trying to see what's wrong with that. And then so you just have to understand. Okay, so together Navali Kori, which has since been inundated by the waters of the dam across the Euphrates, but it's revolutionized understanding of the Anatolian Stone Age at the oldest level. But the buildings at Gopekli Tepe contain monolithic T-shaped pillars, which links to coarsely built walls, which form circular or oval buildings. So far, such buildings with the diameters between 33 feet and 100 feet have been uncovered. The geophysical and studies that suggest 16 more structural exist there. So it's pretty much there. You have these things right here. But the latter Satrium II, but dated to the pre-pottery of the Neolithic B period, 7,500 and 6,000 BCE, but reveal houses or temples that are around the megalithic large stones, but the walls are made of unworked stones, including numerous of T-shaped monolithic pillars of the limestone that are up to 10 feet. But the highest and another bigger pair of pillars, but it's placed in the center of this structure. But the floors are made of the terrazzo, burnt lime, and there is also a low bench of running along with the whole of the outside wall. But the relief carvings on the pillars include foxes, lions, cattle, wild boars, herons, ducks, and scorpions, ants, and snakes. But some of the reliefs have been deliberately erased, maybe in preparation for new pictures. There are there are freestanding sculptures as well as they have may represent the boars or the foxes, comparable to the statues have been discovered in Navali Kori and Nahal Himar. That's in Anatolia, and that's in what you call Turkey today. So this is the Gobekli Tepe or something like that. The Gobekli Tepe statue right here. And it's another one of examples of that little temple you see. And the Navali Kori, this is what we talking about. Okay. At the Navali Kori, the logical limestone was carved in numerous states and steel, including more than a life-size bear human and head with a snake and of a sheik-like tooth. But the sheik, a long toothed or locked hair tooth and on the back of the shaven head. Not back on the shaven head. Okay. But there's also statues of a bird of some of the pillars, half carved in reflection and including human hands, with a freestanding anthropomorphic figures, attributions of the human characteristics of non-human creatures, which are made of limestone, are comparable to the sculptures found in the Gobekli Tepe. Together, that they are the oldest known life-size sculptures. Gobekli Tepe, or something like that. That's an interesting name. Interesting. Tepe or TP or Tepe. I'm just gonna pronounce it Tepe. Like this. Pepe, Tepe. Okay, Gobekli. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna say. Gobekli Tepe right here. Another type. Animals that like they mentioned in all the sculptures. Okay. Limestone. See, they had limestone back then. Limestone, what you got now is a little different, but they got designs for these people in the sculpture. Found in Valley Corey pictures have not been released, were several hundreds of small clay figurines above 2 and high, and most of them depicting humans, and these have been interpreted as voting the votive offerings. But these figures were fired at the temperatures between 500 to 600 Celsius, which suggests development of the ceramic technology before the advent of pottery proper. See, they said they were humans and people. That's the Navali Corey. So it's pretty much, the mythological considerations, clause, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's mythological. You see another one, and it's pretty much it. And then you see the people of the town. That's what they would say they would be in culture. You know what I'm saying? Like it's pretty much you see the stuff, and then yeah, and it's pretty much it. That's pretty much it on part one. We're gonna stop sharing a bit. That's part one. So we're gonna go with part two and just go here for a minute. And I'm just gonna go restructure for a minute. We'll see something real quick. So we're gonna talk about this part two of Anatolia. We'll get right into it. All right. All right. We're gonna go in here and go here. Well, how much time we got? Oh, we got 28 minutes. Okay. We got time. Ancient man's his first civilization, Anatolia, modern Turkey, the Hattic 2000 BCE, and we got the part two of it in part ones of Anatolia. One and two parts of Anatolia. As we have seen from page one, the original early civilizations of Anatolia were built through the Causian African, built by the Causian African Grimaldi man. Evidence of the Grimaldi's continued presence in demonstrated by the pronounce of the buttocks of the Hattic mother above. But this marks the end of the period when a clear differentiation can be made between the Caucasian African and other Africans who have migrated northward through the Lavian. But the following millennia is where we see almost a constant movement of people in out of the area. So that's what they look like in the statue. So and you see out of an area, and this is what you got right here. See, remember Egypt was so dominant back then. We just talked about this in part one. So that's just what it is. Syrians belong vessels and weapons and tombs of the reversed 18th dynasty reign of Tutmos III, early Amenhotep II, Amenhotep II, Fatima Nina and Dindi Garis and Davis, 1881, 1965, Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. That's what you'll see those things like that. And then you see the Aegean Islanders, Tomb of the Requiem, 18th Dynasty, the reign of Tutmos III, early Amenhotep II, Fasimil by Nina, of course, same thing, Metropolitan Museum of New York as well. Same as above, okay. And then you got your Hatti, not Haiti, but Hatti. Hatti are probably the original advanced civilization of Anatolia. They ruled a kingdom in central Anatolia that was made of several small cities. I mean, small city states. The language is extinct and little known. Little is known of it, but it's possibly it has been a Sumerian since they are the signs of the metropolitan influence of on Hattian and Hattian art culture. But the main cities of Hattian were Maimarte, Martar, Mayamartar, or Horsotepi, Alakahoyuk, and Hattus. Their religion was natural, animalistic, as their gods depicted various of the aspects of nature in the form of animals. See, that was an idol worship, like a lot of people would call that idolatry, but in a way, everybody's got their own cultures. It's kind of cool, when people have their own cultures and their beliefs. That's their belief system. Everybody had their own practice. Everybody has different governments. So the relief reigns Apadana in Persia, capital um, Persepolis in about 500 BCE. But this is the relief of the example how the whites twisted facts with blah. Yeah, he's going at Cappadonna. Okay, and then you got the Saint Gregory, here 12. So yeah, it's a little arguments and shit. I'm gonna skip past that. I'm not gonna go into it. By the 6th century BCE, the Hatti was a province of the Persian Empire called the Cappadocia. After bringing the Persian Empire to an end, Alexander the Great tried to rule the area. One of his military commanders, but Arthur Arthurtheus the first, a Persian aristocrat, somehow became king of the Cappadocian the Athris the first, but 332 to 322 BCE was successful ruler and extended the borders of the Cappadocian kingdom as far as the Black Sea. But the kingdom of Cappadocia lived the peace until the death of Alexander. When the king was taking over Eumenes and friend of Alexander's, said that to be the Tharcian, said to be from Tharcian Crescenosius, modern Gallipoli, is claims, yeah, Gallipoli has claimed were made good in 322 BCE by the Greek and regent and predecessors were crucified the Arthurians the first. But okay, but Eumenes was then killed by the son of the Arthurius, who reclaimed the kingdom, but later became the Arthuraces the fifth. I mean, yeah, that's how their whole name is, Arthuraces the fifth. Marched with the Roman Roscians of Publius and Macinus and against the Aristoconiscus, and clamored in the throne of Pergamum over their forces, okay, were annihilated in 130 BCE, bringing the dynasty to an end. So that's basically here, right here. Um, this is Turkey depicting this guy 1,200 BCE in the history of the Pythagoreans. Yeah, Pythagoreans inhabited in Anatolia and all that. You see all this right here. Warsaw close up. So it's all. I talked about this before. I'm not going to get into it. The most historians are dated Pythagoras 1200 BCE, but that is close reference to the collapse of the mythical Caucasian Hittite Empire. The problem is there was no Hittite Empire. It was a reality simply the Hattian Empire, more on the mythical empire below. Yeah, there is no Hittite Empire. It's called the Hattian Empire. This is why Esau and all them try to dissuade it. The Pythagoreans people, you talk about that Troy and all this other stuff, Horse of Fame, and we're not gonna read that. We're gonna skip that because I talked about this before. European. Y'all can watch that. My old explained the Hattian Empire. I know it had a lot of hate on it. Herodotus of Pythagoreans and all that. So it's basically, yeah, this history. The Etruscan tomb. We talked about the Etruscans a couple weeks back of last month, and we talked about this stuff. I'm just skimming through. I'm not going to read all this, but you get the point, like the Samal and all that. And then his story, he try to say Hattian, but they're trying to say Hittite and all this mythical stuff. And you see all this stuff right here, and it's kind of crazy. But then you got the 750 BC, the Gurgan funerary stele. It's got all types of people, Nari people, and all this other stuff. So it's a culture. That's all I got. And I talked about this Hittitian empire and all that. Yeah, you see that from that video. If you saw, I got it from here years ago. So shouts out to everybody. Yeah, we're gonna stop sharing and my thoughts on it. Good recording for me. I mean, it's gonna be a decent upload. I ain't gonna say it's a good upload, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. And then two of this, we're gonna deal with part three because we talked about that. This is part one of 1 and 2 of Anatolia's story. So I might call it let's talk about the history of old Central Asia. I'll say old ancient Central Asia. So you know how that goes. But shouts out to people that support the last clips of these recordings. I'm just making a series out of it. And I'm gonna stop and talk about something random. Because Wednesdays is usually my historical time. I can do it in these spring moments. It's still spring. Summer won't start probably the 21st of the Gregorian calendar. You know how they go, but I ain't gonna get into that. But I hope y'all enjoy it. Yeah, this is part one of the Anatolians. We're going to talk about part 1 and 2. On this one, we just talked about 1 and 2. We'll talk about part 3. That's going to be a long one, and we're going to stay on it, and we're going to reference back to part 2, what it says about other things and things like that nature. So with that, shalom to the people, Yisrael, and shalom to the Gentiles as always. And yes, I'm bringing you another historical facts of what's going on and things of that nature. And shouts out to the people that are guests. Salute to y'all. And so with that, until next time, I'm signing off and I'm out.